wonder. I wonder if she's doing the classic like flip it inside out.
Flip it.
Then you kind of technically have
foul.
No.
That's foul.
No, I'm not saying I ever did that.
No.
It is foul.
No.
I just want to be clear. I've never done that, guys.
Right. How do you know about that?
You offered that up very quickly.
No.
The axe is not working.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Volume 1. Today, we are joined by two very special guests to talk about a series called Queen's Quality.
Queen's Quality.
Which means that today, my name is Josh Sweeper Michael.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
And I am joined by
Mehgan, Queen Cockroach Perrine.
Okay.
It rhymed. It rhymed, and they have bugs, and it's the
Queen Cockroach?
They look like little cockroaches. Okay, Jesus.
So there are bugs in this story.
You didn't even think of one.
Neither did you.
But mine was better.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll let the audience decide. We can also let our guests decide.
Yeah.
Because we are joined by two really amazing guests today. They have their own show called Shoujo Sundae, a shoujo anime and manga podcast with hosts Giana and Chica. So without further ado, make some noise for the two of them. Welcome, Giana and Chica.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Now, it's tradition. You guys have to come up with you have to introduce yourselves with names that relate to something in this story.
Man, Sweeper was already taken. So
that's the easy one.
I'm the apprentice cleaning lady.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, and I am Chica Supreme, the true queen.
Woo!
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
Chica won. It's not a competition, but Chica won. Thank you guys for joining us to talk about this series. I don't think me and Mehgan definitely didn't know anything about this series.
No.
Before we jumped into it, before we give the synopsis and everything, is there anything else I didn't include that you guys want to include about you guys to let the people know what your show is about before we dive in?
I mean, you nailed it pretty much on the head. We cover shoujo anime content, sometimes shoujo adjacent content, but we try to stick to straight shoujo content. We do the likes and dislikes, and it's all ice cream puns, and
I
love
a
that.
lot of wholesome chaos.
I love that. I love the soft serve summary. We're suckers for like a good name, good pun name. I was like, yes, this is what I crave. Like the hot fudge, and
I almost brought ice cream today.
Oh,
yeah.
Just
because it's like Shoujo
You usually
Sunday. Yeah, every episode there's a bowl of ice cream right out of frame that nobody can see.
You guys are amazing, and we're so
awesome.
happy to finally be doing this collab because I love you guys. And yeah.
So let's just
thank
give
you.
a synopsis of this series real quick. So if you don't know what Queen's Quality is all about, it is, first of all, it's a sequel technically, but we'll talk about that. I don't think the mangaka says that you don't need to have any knowledge of the prior series to jump into this series. I agree with that. We'll talk about that too. But the synopsis for this series is Fumi Nishioka, I suck at pronouncing names, is an apprentice sweeper, a person who cleans negative emotions from human hearts, who works together with fellow sweeper Kyutaro Horikita and his family before meeting them. She was homeless, and everywhere she went, people treated her like she was cursed. But the Horikitas, especially, man, I'm really bad at pronouncing names, Kyotaro, changed that and gave her a place where she truly belongs. So did you guys know anything about it before reading it?
Nope. Not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No, it was on my TBR list because we have like some friends like Christy Lou, who she is a shoujo YouTuber. Colleen Manga Rex is also a YouTuber that really waxed poetic about this series.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm meaning to get to it. And then when we wanted to collab with you guys, it's like, okay, why don't we start off absolutely fresh, just like Volume 1, and just get into this manga. So
we're all going in blind.
Yeah.
Yes.
Completely.
Do you guys feel like, and I think this is good for people to hear too, do you guys feel like you need to read QQ Sweeper to love this, to like this, to get this? Because I definitely don't feel that way.
I don't think so. I mean, I enjoyed it. I will say that going into it, the world building felt very like it was all being told to you. What is that exposition? It's very like
yes,
whatever the like adjective is for that exposition.
Yeah,
sorry, my brain's not functioning. But yeah, apart from that, I don't think you have to read it beforehand. I was able to, for the most part, grasp everything pretty quickly.
I think the pacing for it for me, until I realized after I read it that there was a prequel. But when the pacing for me, I was just kind of like, oh, this feels abrupt. But then, there's a prequel. That's why.
It makes so much sense. And especially, like you said, the exposition, like it is kind of just like, this is knowledge that you probably already know. And it's like, I didn't know I didn't know that she was a sleeper. Like, it's just like,
I'm like, oh, you could just go into people's minds in this universe. I guess I'm accepting that.
Yeah. It's like, okay, sure.
Which is like anime shit for sure. But I really, but you never know. Sometimes with like SOL or anything, like any other series, it could just be that they're like housekeepers.
Yeah.
So when I found out that there was some sort of like supernatural magical element to it, I was like, whoa.
That was just
that came out of nowhere. But it was honestly like, I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot more. I don't know. Again, I don't know what I was expecting because I really knew nothing about it, but I really, really enjoyed the concept, the characters, the relationship between the two main characters. I liked it a lot. I don't know about how you felt, Mehgan, because I know that you felt like because of some of those things.
Yeah.
It did take you out of it slightly, or
in the beginning, and then again once I warmed up to the characters and what was happening, and then once obviously towards the end of the volume we get like the villains, or these people that are supposed to be villains, but they're like, we just want to take out bad guys, and I'm like, but that's kind of good, right?
The bug handlers.
The bug handlers. But then they do something evil. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, they're evil. But yeah, I did really enjoy it. As I got through the volume more, in the beginning it was kind of like, here's this and here's that and here's this and here. I'm like, oh, okay, now I understand it. Now I'm going forward.
Yeah, there was a moment for me too where when we're introduced to the antagonist, right, the bug handlers, which came kind of late. It came in like the fourth chapter. The first volume's only 5 chapters. We don't even get introduced to them until the 4th chapter. Yeah. But at first, I was like, oh, this guy he doesn't seem that bad.
That's what I thought too.
He was like nice to that girl.
Yeah, exactly. It seemed like the other girl was the one who was like forcing him to do things that he didn't want to do.
Yeah, his sister. Yeah. Eye patch lady.
Right.
I love a good eye patch character. I was like, yes.
Oh, yeah.
We got one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just general thoughts, I guess, for you guys. Like, what did you guys think about this first volume before we go through more beat by beat, I guess? I
really love that, Fumi was able to have like this found family aspect with the Horikitas, and that they gave her like a place in their business, but then also a purpose by having her be a housekeeper. So she doesn't feel indebted to them, because you kind of tell through the volume that she's just always talking about, I'm going to pay you back. I'm going to do this. And so in having her like be a housekeeper, then it's like, oh, we're giving you a purpose to live here so you don't feel bad about living with us. And that actually sort of reminded me a little bit of Fruits Basket. If
that's what Mehgan was saying.
Not gonna lie, I was just kind of like, oh, it's like that.
Yeah, exactly. Then, like 16-year-old homeless girl. I was like, oh, Fruits Basket, here we go.
Yeah. And then there were chains, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Dark quickly.
I was like, what did Shoujo Sundae ask us to read right now?
That scene, I was like, oh my God. It just escalated like boom, boom, boom.
Instant. 0 to 60. Yeah.
Yeah, but what about you? How did you feel about it?
I really enjoyed it. As I was able to take in the information more, I was like, okay, I'm like vibing with this universe more now that it feels more normal to me. But like in particular, because it's me talking, the romance elements of this story have so much potential. Like it is so well crafted from the get-go, and I am entirely hooked, even just for like the romance plot of it.
I would agree with that.
Same. Yeah. It's like, his proclamation of love can like set off bomb after bomb after bomb. And I love the like, oh, I can do it. I can do anything for her. But the line is like, it's going to be much harder than you think. I'm like, I know it's already hard for me. She has no idea.
Oh my God. It's like, you have no idea.
I know.
No, I love that so much because, there's, it reminds me, this is goofy, but it reminds me of, in other movies, like let's compare it for a second to The Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher.
I never seen
peak
that.
cinema right there.
I did.
You saw it. Okay. Thank you, Chica.
It was like, Chica's like, I know what The Butterfly
But I'm just
Effect
saying there's an ending, spoiler alert, where, he has to undo his relationship with her. But he, I think, remembers who she is, I believe, and she doesn't. And so he just kind of has to live with that. And then the movie's over. But this is what happens if you have to continue to be around that person? What happens if you have to continue to work closely to protect this person? It is a different kind of pain.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it a lot. I really enjoy it a lot.
Yeah,
in a story.
And they're both feeling that pain, right? One of them thinks, okay, I can't confess my love because they love someone else. Little does she know that it's her.
That she's the one that
That
is
it's
in love with.
her. And there's the pain from both of them. And at first, again, it was just launch pad up into the sky with everything that was happening. I was like, dang, he's getting a little too close to her eyeball. You need to just back up a little bit. Your personal space. I was like,
right.
Get away from her. You got, okay, maybe, sure. But now the reveal after chapter 2, I was like, oh. Okay.
I think it came at the end of chapter 1.
Chapter
and that
1.
was a perfect closing to the first chapter of him. This whole time, her being not sad, but her kind of accepting that she isn't the one that he's in love with and that she's not going to get in the way of whoever he does love. But then the reveal that it is her and she just, because of her amnesia, doesn't remember. That was really, really cool. That was what made it a really perfect first chapter. And I think that for me, I don't know, maybe it is because it is a sequel series, but even if it wasn't, I kind of like the focus being on their relationship and them versus the bug handlers or versus going really in depth, a lot of other shonen do, right? Which is going really in depth on we're going to let you know everything about the sweepers and how that works and how the system works.
Show you the villains right off the bat doing evil stuff. And then we're going to show people coming in and defeating those villains. And then we're going to show you the world. No, it was straight focus. These two characters, their relationship. And that helps you, understand the story, but also feel for them more than you would have if you didn't really know anything about them and you knew more about the world from the get-go. So I appreciated that a lot.
Yeah.
I love character building before world building, I guess. So this was a good for me.
Yeah. Just them establishing, guys, this is the one true pairing. We're telling you in the first chapter.
Do not veer off.
Don't veer off. It's nobody else. Okay, we're rooting for these people the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, I like I said, I had a lot of fun reading this. And if you guys are good on general thoughts, I mean, let's start going through it.
Sure.
Let's go through the chapters, the beats. Even the way this opened. This is, again, keep in mind, I had no idea that there was a mystical, magical element.
Me either. I didn't read the synopsis before I started reading, so.
Me neither.
Honestly, same.
Yeah.
I went in blind. I was
I like that. I really do I like doing that sometimes because I don't have any expectations for what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so even the way it started, it was talking about a person changing their mind when they come in contact with someone else. You could be the one that changes them. They could change you, but sometimes there's people who can change everybody. And I was like, damn, this is going to be about social manipulation, dude.
In this point, they're talking about queens. I just hear a classical piano playing in my mind. Dun, dun, dun. It's kind of scary, but kind of beautiful.
Okay, yeah. And this would make a great anime too.
This really would.
Yes,
I would love to see this as an anime.
Yeah. I mean, going into it, even looking at the cover, right? You see Fumi holding the chess piece. So I was like, oh, is this manga version of Queen's Gambit?
You know what? Same thought crossed my mind.
I was just like, oh, there's some queens. And then I was like, there's bugs. Wait, Okay, never mind.
Oh yeah, I think that the mangaka, which I want to say her name, Matomi Kiyosuke. She did like Dengeki Daisy and QQ Sweeper, obviously. But yeah, there's a little note that says something about bugs and like stepping on them or like I don't know what. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what is this?
Yeah,
it was so startling.
But yeah, I was like, bold choice to put Queen in the name of your story and have the main character hold a chess piece and not expect people to associate it with Queen's.
What came first?
Is it called Queen? It's called Queen's Gambit.
Okay, Queen's Gambit.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I have her quote here. Like
you do? Okay. That would be great.
She said, Queen's Quality is a story of love and grime, a tale of mental cleansing. It's a love story that occasionally includes bloodshed and bug squishing.
That's what it was. I was like, what do you mean? Like, what is going to happen? What is going to happen right now?
That's at the very beginning. That in itself, like, also hooked me. I was like, what the hell is this story about?
Bloodshed. It gets pretty wild. It gets pretty wild towards the end of the volume. I was like, what the heck?
But just going through it again in the first chapter, and we can, be super general. We don't have to like go through every single detail. But in the beginning, we're introduced to our two main characters, and we kind of get a sense for their relationship and how one of them, our main character, who I have all the character names written down. Fumi. She is kind of like off daydreaming about being kissed. And this is where they establish her. And I think this might be something in QQ Sweeper that is a bigger part of her character. But she talks about like one of her main, I think, goals, one of her dreams is to find her Prince Charming, right? Like that's what she really, really is looking for, I guess. And yeah, we see the love interest, Kyotaro. Am I saying that right?
I think so. Kyotaro. Bad.
Yeah, we suck.
I think it's Q.
Kyotaro.
Okay.
Kyotaro.
Let's go with Q. Let's go with Q.
Q.
Yeah.
Q.
Let's go with Q.
Yeah, they actually do that too in the thing. Yeah.
They do.
They call them Q.
They do.
Yeah.
And they're again, I think what we're all in agreement with when we first started reading this is that we do see them like sweeping and doing sort of like landscaping. So we think that they are just these housekeepers, gardeners even. But as it goes on, we find out that the sweepers themselves are in charge of like cleansing people's minds and their spirits. And there's even a gate that's mentioned, the Gembu gate, that they are tasked. This family is tasked with like guarding. We're let in on Fumi having amnesia and not remembering anything about who she is. And we're just being introduced to all the characters in the family.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mehgan.
Yeah, that specific panel when it is introduced about the sweepers, and there was like an owl.
Yeah.
They had like a bird, and they looked so like really, really awesome. But it was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing, which is like such a pleasant surprise. Because I do love like a magical element to like any story. So that was like, whoa. I love seeing them in those outfits. Like they look so boss.
And then of course, there's that moment where we kind of see she clearly does like him, but she's unsure about whether he likes her or not. But she's also not even really wanting to pursue that out of respect for him and his family, who have allowed her to stay with them and given her a job and all those things. But there's that spicy moment where he's like blowing something out of her eye and he gets real close.
Yo, my heart fluttered. I was like, oh, like, wow, he's like really not being shy about it.
I know. And
I think she just talked about,
go ahead.
I think she just talked about, maybe he's my Prince Charming. And then he's just like, I'm going to remind you. I mean, you don't know that it's me.
Right.
I'm going to blow this stuff out of your eye.
Maybe this will trigger a memory. Yeah.
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 Maybe my breath on your eye will trigger something.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a spicy moment. I was getting a little flush.
There's another moment later on that spice to the max. Spice to the max. But again, like after all of that, then we get, I like to call him, the gasoline magician. His introduction was pretty wild.
That was another 0 to 60 moment where I was like, this is happening. Like, it just, like, it already, the chains was one thing, and then it was gasoline. Okay, there's gasoline.
And a fedora.
That was the scariest part.
That's the thing that he should be setting on fire. Yeah. He shouldn't have been setting the plants on fire. He should be setting that fedora on fire.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
For real.
But yeah, that was wild because they talk about someone coming to help, you know, and they're also talking about this plant. I don't know if it was a tree or what exact type of plant it was, but being like from Q's family and how it like protects the home. And this man just shows up and
waltzes in.
Yeah, pours at the time what we believe to be gasoline on it and threatens to set it on fire. I mean,
puts her in chains.
And puts her in chains. Puts her in chains.
And then the reveal of it being like, that was all fake.
Yeah, he goes, that was a joke. I was just joking. Yeah.
And she's like screaming for her life. She's like, the chains! Oh my God, he's going to set fire. And it's just, it was a joke. I'm like, geez. That's not a funny joke.
What type of joke is that? Like, you just meet somebody and it's like, oh, I'm going to set you on fire. You got chains all over you. Yeah. Screw climate change. We're ruining everything.
Yeah. And after all of it, go like, come on, you can't take a joke.
Right. Oh my God. What a first impression.
I know. But what's also like super interesting about this moment is we see Fumi for the first time because she's been this very like, I would say like timid, shy, you know. And that could potentially also be because of her amnesia. She has no idea who she really is. So she's just, you know, she's kind of reserved. But we see her for the first time kind of shift and something sort of like awaken inside of her. And she ends up like commanding this guy, telling him to stop, to get on his knees. And he sort of, against his own free will, I guess, just has to act and do as she's saying. And her eyes are glazed over. I mean, she is clearly not who we've seen her be thus far. So we know that something is going on. And makes him hold his hand over the fire too.
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
Yeah. It wasn't just like a situation of like, stand down, just kneel down and stop putting these chains on me. For the love of God. No, she's like, okay, I'm going to take this a step further. Burn your hand right now. Yeah. Like, really, really dark stuff.
Well,
It reminded me. Turned into a dominatrix. Like,
for real.
Like, you're going to listen to everything that I say.
Awakened something.
Something inside of her. It's like, oh.
Deep down inside.
There's a lot of lenses you could read this story through. A lot of interpretations. It does remind me too of this. There's this like old comic book series called Preacher. They made a show about it on AMC. But it was like a super interesting, at times like pretty wild comic series. But the idea in this series was that there was a preacher who was not a good preacher. He was like an alcoholic. He was all these things, whatever. But there was this in heaven, an angel and a demon had a baby, and this baby was called Genesis, and it possessed this preacher. And it gave this preacher the word of God. So whatever he told you to do, if you said it in the word of God, like you had to do it no matter what. So there are a couple instances throughout where it gave me a really similar preacher vibe because later, and I don't mean to jump ahead, but later she tells someone to keep their eyes open and not to shut them. And it's similar to how the main character in Preacher operates because at one point in the story, he tells a guy, they're on a beach and he tells a guy in the word, right? He tells him to not leave the beach until he's counted every single grain of sand.
Oh.
So you just see this guy like shaking and like counting and losing count and starting over. And he's just there forever.
Oh,
forever.
So stressful.
Yeah. So that's it kind of reminded me of like little moments of that.
Just
of
like
this reminded me.
Pure like, just like, what's the word? Torture. I mean, she likes to, the queen likes to torture people.
Right. The Dom queen. Yeah, but this was like the first time we see it. And,
what did you guys think? Like the first time she was introduced, like we're like the queen. Brought out the queen. The queen was on display.
Like at first, I didn't fully get it, so I was just like, "Oh yeah, get out of her face, okay." she's a minor old man.
Right.
Then when she was like, burn your hand, I was like,
Yeah.
maybe we could call for help, you know?
Right.
The police,
Right.
the other sweepers.
Yeah.
Right. It was definitely a shocking shift to see in her. And I mean, I didn't know that it was going to be what they described, like this power lying dormant in her. But I was like, something snapped or clicked or something. And I'm curious to see like how they're going to explain it, you know?
Yeah, later on he goes, yeah, I was doing that on purpose to like have it come out, have the queen come out. And I don't know what it is about this guy. And I don't know, I can't help but compare it sometimes in the style and everything, like Fruits Basket. Like this is the Shigure of
right
of the series.
Oh my God,
like he's cool and collected, but he's also like at times just like super like, okay, you need to just chill out. You need to stop smelling people. You need to stop revealing people's personal and private matters. Just hang out.
Right. Just go get a glass of water. Sit down for 5 minutes.
It's like manipulating people, but it's supposed to be for the greater good. And it's okay.
And the whole time he has this like sort of like vacant smile on his face, like all the time. Like it's not an evil smile, but it is just like it's just like there's nothing behind it.
You know? Morally gray.
Yeah, very morally gray. 100%.
Yeah.
But I even forgot about that. Like he mentions, they sit down with him. Obviously, you know, he wanted to bring the queen out. He explains what the queen is: dormant power that lies, super rare power that allows you to control people. If the queen says dance, people dance. You know, and I forgot that he also mentions that he has his own sort of like, not necessarily ability, but his own like thing where he can like smell people and he can figure out everything about them. Everything that they're feeling, everything that they're thinking, just by smelling them. Yeah,
I love that. He's like, I sniff people a lot. And she's like, yeah, it's not. He's like, nice to meet you. She's like, it's not nice to meet you.
I like that too.
After everything that you just did, it is not nice to meet you. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Have a good day.
It's kind of weird. It's like you just go around sniffing people. Like, how do you explain that? Like,
it's literally like that is the him explaining like, oh, I sniff people because it's my ability. Like if he did not have you can't just say that in public. You can't just tell people that. It is a problem.
No reason is good enough.
Like sniffing, and like what is the level of sniffing? Like is it a strong like whiff, like
like one only, or like a multiple like sniff situation, like over and over and over.
Like a dog.
Right. Because I'm thinking like sometimes
what would be better.
Sometimes, you know, if you're in an area and people are walking by you real fast, they're like whizzing by you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't help but get a whiff. You know
okay.
what I mean?
Well, yeah, but that's not you like making a point.
No. But I'm saying
smell this.
I'm saying
person.
maybe that's his tactic. You know, maybe he's just walking around people
and
he's doing drive-by sniffs. You know what I mean? He's like he's just like real fast, so that he's like kind of low key about it. You know,
puts his head down.
He's like someone cooking over a pot. He's just like constantly like waving his hands around.
Oh my God!
Yeah, this is a Takaya? Kitahara?
Yeah, Kitahara. But something else he also mentions is that when queens awaken, if a queen awakens and they're malevolent, the problem is they could become a black queen. And of course, there are people who want that to happen. Basically, a queen that would use her powers for evil.
Yeah.
And that's probably the people who have also altered her memories.
Yeah, we learned that pretty quickly, and I do appreciate it being like all in the beginning of the obviously volume to get you to understand everything. But like we said before, it was like kind of a lot of information at once, especially being told like from a character and not being like shown that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But once everything was kind of set into motion, then I was like, okay, now I'm in it.
Yeah. This is where I really, I was in this is a great first chapter. Like I was really invested, and we find out that Q wants to become, or is going to become, her consort, which is basically the person, because he is an experienced sweeper, and he can bring her back from the queen. And again, for anybody who hasn't heard anything about the series, I mean, it is kind of similar. That's what we're talking about, the Sukuna Yuji sort of relationship. It's not a perfect comparison, but in the sense that there's something inside of her that is not her, that is evil and that wants to come out and that she has to push back down. And Q is the only one who is able to like bring her back, like the real her back. Mm-hmm. Which is why he's like, I'm going to follow her around. Make sure she's good.
I love how they're like, I don't know why it's him that can do it, but like he can reach her. We know why. We know why.
We all know why.
We know why.
Yeah,
it's in the name. Consort. Come on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, he says, I'll stay with her at all times. I'll never take my eyes off of her.
I'll never leave her. I'll never take my eyes off of her. She's mine. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, I bet you would still do that whether she was a queen or not.
I know.
Right. Whether you were a consort or not.
You were just able to say it out loud and it was accepted now. And everyone's like, everyone's like blushing and look at him like, oh my gosh, you just proclaimed his love for her, but like not really, but really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's pretty much here at the end of the chapter too. And we're kind of, moving through it pretty quickly. But at the end, they have a moment. She's, of course, like struggling with feeling like a monster. Or two.
Yeah.
Hearing all of this information is really hard for her because, again, she doesn't know anything about anything. And this is all being like thrust upon her. We've been also like let in on the fact that like she has been made to feel like a burden, that people have treated her really, really poorly. So this only like further validates those feelings about herself. And there's a sweet moment between the two of them. And you sense that pain and that distance because Q feels like he can't fully be there for her the way he needs to be there for her without revealing the truth. And that is something that I really liked as we go on, is that he actually took steps to growing and to changing how he approached things. He became a little bit more willing to be a little bit more vulnerable, to communicate more clearly, to express himself.
Yeah.
But here in the beginning, he still is very much like, I have to keep my distance because if I don't, then I'm going to either lead her on or the truth is going to come out. But we see him kind of grow out of that as in just 5 chapters. And I just love to see a character grow at all,
Yeah.
Yeah. Because sometimes you don't see any growth until like 50 chapters.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to see it this early on.
And especially in romance series too, like there are obviously like amazing romance series where it does go on for a very long time.
Will they, won't they?
And it's a will they, won't they.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some where it just starts to feel like very repetitive, Like,
Come on.
Yeah, like by now, like
yes,
someone should just communicate something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the stakes are they feel so real here.
Yep.
Like the tension and the like how high the stakes are is like coming off the page at you when you read this. I really, really liked how palpable all the emotions were.
I agree.
Yeah, especially at the end there with the hug and everything. Like it could be seen, and the way they're playing it like to each other is like, oh, like we're just like friends embrace and cry like this together in the moonlight and whatever. But it is like she needs someone, if not like she doesn't really necessarily need a like romantic partner. She just needs like a partner, which I think that he realizes like sooner than later. Like I just need to set these emotions aside. Like of course I love her, but I need to just be there for her, like as a partner, as someone to like look over her, which I liked a lot. It wasn't like, no, I'm going to tell her right away. I need to tell her that I love her. Like,
yeah.
Because again, without him communicating those things, she blames herself. She thinks it has to be something about her. It has to be something that she's doing. And again, because she feels like she's also maybe a little bit of a freeloader too. Like I've just been given all of these things. Like she does try to work really hard to show how grateful and appreciative she is. But of course she's going to have that self-doubt. So I like that he kind of like matures a little bit through like other adults or other people telling him like, hey man, you just need to learn how to communicate. A lot of people can learn that lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just talk about your feelings, okay? It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, like you like her, but I mean, well,
yeah, you also
say anything,
right?
Yeah,
you also can like be there for her and not have to like. I don't know. I really like how a lot of it is handled like going forward, but we'll get there. And then of course at the end of the first chapter, that's the reveal that she's the girl that he was in love with. We said that.
I think her real name is like Fuyu. Yeah. Fuyu.
Moving into the second chapter, she's still kind of like, I think feels a little bit more. She feels like she wants to take control of her own situation. And she's like, I'm not gonna let this like get me down. Like,
no, she's
fuck
like
this queen.
Yeah.
And then we cut to them at school, which was cool. I thought this man was the janitor, dude. I thought this man.
Right.
And maybe he is. I don't know.
Maybe it's still not clear. I'm not super sure because I think she said at the beginning that they were both second years, but then they're like, why is she talking to the cleaner? So like, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's like, I think they're part of the beautification committee.
Right.
Which I still don't know what that is.
I guess it's like doubling up as them being janitors, but we tend to see this a lot. Like, I don't know why they don't hire faculty to be doing the things that they have the students doing. But
put these damn kids to work.
Yeah, put them to work.
But yeah, I was like, dang. I mean, when they go to school and they talk about how it's a cover for them to like clean up the bugs and all the hateful stuff, I was like, their work is never going to be done at a high school. Bad thoughts, gossip, bullying. Yeah. It's gonna be endless.
Puberty in general, like
constant,
constantly. Scrub.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's easier. I don't know, but at least it's not an American school. I think there'd be a lot more bugs.
Oh God!
Oh yeah,
a lot more bugs.
Like tarantulas.
Yeah.
What are the centipedes?
Yeah. Eight-legged freaks. Like that movie with the giant bugs.
For real.
But I thought he was just like part of the custodial crew, and people were like, "Why is she talking to that guy over there?" But we find out that, of course, like Mehgan was saying, that's so that they can kind of keep an eye on things, and I love that too. That like idea that those feelings in this story manifest as like bugs. I really enjoy,
or even crazier things as we see,
which we do see.
Yeah, later, like actual monsters.
Yeah.
But she's she's gonna be tested, and she has a kind of meeting with the psychiatrist. What did you call him?
The gasoline magician.
The gasoline magician. It's a great name.
It's great.
Yeah.
That should have been my introduction.
We'll go back. We'll edit it in.
Yeah. We'll go back.
I'll just dub over and gasoline magician.
The mouth does not add up at all.
Yeah.
Our reactions don't even match up to it. It makes no sense. But
the audio is like way louder.
For the people who make it here, they get it. That's why you got to stay.
Yeah.
But so he's gonna test her, right? He's gonna, and he's telling her like it's up to you whether you tell Q or not, But again, part of the arrangement is that he has to be around her, like he can't leave her side, and she's willing to accept the challenge. Like she wants to do it on her own, which he's gonna find out is a great quality to have, but not all the time. Like it's not something that you can take care of yourself all the time. Like sometimes you need help, or it's okay to ask for help at least. But this is where we see the first like sort of bug infestation and a creature that ain't a bug. This is what would you guys call this? This creature that we see in the room.
Like at first I thought it was some sort of like mammal, like a mammal wolf thing, but like a beetle head, like some combination like of that.
I thought it was some kind of like canine, like abomination looking thing.
I mean, it's scary. Mehgan, what about you?
Yeah, it looks like it kind of has like hooves. So it's a weird looking thing. But yeah, like some sort of like mammal deer.
Deer?
I don't know.
I got a canine vibe too.
Yeah, like mammal deer, weird, scary.
It is scary.
Because of like the little horn thingies in the back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this was kind of, I really liked how they depicted, like, obviously the bugs, like, they're going to look like bugs, but I like how they depicted, like, in the dialogue, like, all the things that are whispering. Being said, and I could hear it. I could hear all of, like, these voices at the same time, just being like, you suck. You're the worst. You're a phony. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is maddening.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a little bit more harsh if it was real high school dialogue, you know?
Yeah.
Like high school drama. It'd be crazy, dude. It'd be crazy stuff. But yeah, they are kind of like whispering. And it did send some chills down my spine. But yeah, she has to fight this thing. And I like that the sweeper's weapons are, and this may be an obvious thing, but I like how they're actually like brooms. And like at the end of this chapter, I think it's explained that like, he throws a feather to kind of neutralize this threat. And it's from like a duster or something that's like a duster. They're all cleaning supplies, but it looks cool.
That's a nice touch. I really like that.
I think she said it's called a haboki.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's used for like Japanese tea ceremony.
Yes.
And stuff.
And it was tied to like a chopstick that is also used for like tea ceremonies, I think.
Yeah. It was really cool. It's just like he came in, was just like, here's this feather, which it just reminded me of Sailor Moon a little bit, you know, slightly. It's like, here's this feather. Okay, there's this rose. Tuxedo Mask is here.
Tuxedo Mask.
For real.
Yeah.
I mean, he came in cool, though. He came in real cool.
Yeah, he acts. Very cool. I always like the trope. It's just so funny of like this like very like handsome man, and he's like, I'm a loner, like I'm a rebel, like no one likes me, and I'm like, bro, have you looked in the freaking mirror? Like
that's a great point.
Right? Yeah, like you're so charming, like everyone. But
that's a great
even
point.
in the school, everyone's like, yeah, why? He's I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea of you talking to me, and I'm like, who's telling you these things? Like you're supposed to be a sweeper. Sweep your own mind.
Sweep your own mind.
Ooh.
You know what's so funny? I did kind of think about that. I was like, this guy, he seems pretty hard on himself for someone who's supposed to be cleansed and cleansing other people. Cleanse yourself, brother. How about that?
Yeah, for him to be such a good sweeper, it's kind of interesting to see like the thoughts that he has about himself. And I guess to even compare that to Fumi, and that Fumi also has negative thoughts about herself, but she has friends at school. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if she can have friends at school, why don't you also have friends at school? Right? Why are you a loner? Like, is that a choice?
Yeah. And it's really interesting to see just like later on as we get towards like the mall sequence when they go shopping, he has like extreme anxiety about like people. And I was like, this is so relatable. Just like overstimulation and like small talk that you don't really care about. They don't really care about it. So why are we even, what are we talking about? What are we doing? And just that whole rant. And I was like, okay, now I get it a little bit more.
Yeah. I actually really loved that chapter.
Yeah.
It might have been like one of my favorite chapters.
Yeah.
And so get through this one. This is like the first like fight or interaction between her and some of these like creatures.
Yeah, we finally get to see like what a sweeping like fight or like extermination would look like. Mm-hmm. And this is like a pretty strong one.
Right, it's particularly strong.
Yeah.
But the way he like we were saying, throws that feather and then taps his broom. Yeah, it's just like really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then that spirit gets cleansed. She ends up like kind of failing the test, but passing because Q did come and they did work together. But because it wasn't her that made that choice, it's technically a fail, but he'll allow it. He just wanted to see if they were going to
he's playing too much.
Yeah, he plays too much.
He stays playing way too much.
Yeah.
And this is where they have that conversation about like Q and the psychologist having that conversation of like, look, man, if this is something you're really going to do, then you have to do it. And I know that you're going to sit here and tell me that you'll do anything for her, but it's a lot harder. It's going to be a lot harder than you think it is. And you just need to know that. You need to be ready for that. And it is like a very like powerful moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think adds to those stakes feeling so real, because if she gets her memories back, that'll activate whatever curse.
Like immediately.
Yeah.
Like it's like a hand on the button situation. Like it won't be over time. It won't be a maybe she will, maybe she won't. It was like, no, it's definitely promised that will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just felt really bad for Q because, you can tell that. I mean, he says that he loves her so much. When is she going to remember? And then now it's like she can never remember, or then this thing's going to be activated and you can't tell her.
Exactly.
But part of me just wonders, like, okay, even if he doesn't tell her that she's Fuyu, do they really... Is it possible for them to not have a relationship? Because how is she the consort and how is he the consort? He has to be around her all of the time. She's clearly looking for a Prince Charming. Like, wouldn't it be better at that point to be like, okay, I'll be your Prince Charming. We're on the good side or whatever. And even if you remember what happened to you, I was always there. Like,
right.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And it is like you can, even though she lost all of her memories, I would think like maybe her memories would be unlocked by like the kiss.
I think
because she already has feelings for him as Fumi.
I think that's the fear, right? Because I had that same thought too. I was like, man, they had a kiss when they were 10 years old. Like he can't like try to charm her again and just like start from scratch.
Start from
51st
scratch.
Date style,
Yeah.
But I think what he's afraid of is just like, I don't know. I mean, he got really close and blew in her eye and that didn't do anything. But I think he's afraid that if he kisses her, that kiss alone, even if it is just them starting fresh, that kiss will subconsciously like awaken her memories. If he ever does get close to her again, there's a fear whether how true or, whatever the possibility of how true or not true it could be. There's just even the slightest possibility he can't, like that doesn't allow him to get close to her in that way, I think.
Yeah, it's too big of a risk.
Right.
I guess. I mean, it's not like Dragon Ball, Goku had kids without kissing Chi-Chi. Okay.
But all right. Yeah.
I mean,
lame joke, guys, but I felt like you can't. Sorry.
No,
there's no such thing. On Volume 1,
no,
we specialize in lame jokes, and that wasn't a lame joke.
No. That was solid.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're the queen of that because it's queen, but I'll say I'm the queen of that because I don't want it to sound like
that you're telling me that I'm bad at jokes.
Yeah.
That's such a diss. Jeez.
No. That's why I didn't.
That's
want
why you
to
turned
be
it
a
on
diss.
you.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm the queen of bad jokes.
That's the title you keep.
Yeah. And Mehgan is my consort. So thank you guys.
I liked this quote from what's his name, the gasoline magician. He says, "A guy who treats a girl so inconsistently is scum." I was like,
I wrote that too.
Yeah, dude.
I wrote it down too. I was like, 100% fact.
dang.
That's why more boys need to read shoujo, dude.
For real.
It's time.
Yeah.
It's time.
It's time.
We're done.
It's time.
You need to just sit
It's
down.
overdue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't mean you have to stop reading JJK. It doesn't mean you have to stop reading, My Hero. It just means that you can, just broaden your horizons a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real.
Because you get quotes like this and you go,
And you go, damn.
that's interesting. Damn.
Maybe I should just express myself.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow.
But then also, I was kind of like, Uncle, like, you know what's going on. Whose side are you on?
I know.
He's playing my
I
game.
know. Yeah, he's like, I need you to like not tell her you love her, but also like love her enough. But don't love her
not
too
too
much.
much.
Yeah. Like, bro, like you're literally treating him so badly. Like, you know what he's going through. Like, damn.
But I also think he's telling him, like, dude, just because, like, I'm telling you, you can't, like, love her the way you want to love her and, like, express and show your love by, like, kissing her and holding her. Like, you can still, like, be there for her.
And be nice.
Like, you can still, like, you can still, like, talk to her about things. Like, I know it's hard, and it's of course it's hard, but, yeah, I mean, you just gotta, like...
He's, like, not even looking at her in the eyes, just, like, completely, like, yeah, whatever. Like, just treating her so badly.
Well, doesn't, what's his name? Kitahara, the gasoline magician.
Yeah.
Doesn't he? I wrote down another quote. I think it's from this chapter too. He said, "For both of your sakes, learn to look her in the eye and lie."
That was crazy.
I just I put both my hands up. I'm like, no, what?
No.
That was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that's maybe, I like a lot of other things you've said, but not that.
I could see it turning into a development later on where she is very hurt at the fact that he has been lying to her this entire time.
Yeah.
I could see it turning on him.
I could see that.
Like, and the whole family, because the whole family knows. She's going to be like, you guys knew all along. And even with the queen stuff, she kind of just took it like you guys knew, but it's okay. Like, it's fine. I understand why you didn't tell me. But this, I think that she would be like, wow, like, I felt like lonely and you, like, the whole situation, like, you knew who I was and you took me in. And it wasn't like an act of kindness. It was an act of, like, let's not have the bomb blow up.
That just made me think, what if that is like the inciting incident that makes this queen awaken in her and she can't go back because she's not connected with him in that way because she's like so angry at him that his voice can't bring her back and she's like consumed by it.
Yes.
I think you're onto something.
I think that could be definitely because I think that like if he were to tell her that she loves her, she would turn into the queen and then she would be like, and he'd be like, come back. And he'd be able to bring her back because they had that bond. But if they don't, she's going to maybe get persuaded by these bug handlers and they're going to tell her like, he's been lying to you. No one cares about you. Like blah, blah, blah. And she's going to let her.
Because she knows the name of the girl that the quote unquote other girl that
the other woman.
Yeah, the other woman.
It's literally her.
Right. So if the bug handlers also know that and they just tell her that is also her name, then that could just be something that sets her off. Yeah. Potentially, possibly. Because this series, I mean, when we were looking at it, what is it, like 90 chapters? Like it's got a lot of story to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which has me curious. Like, I mean, I really do like this. And again, sometimes it just feels like we don't have time necessarily to always like dedicate to recreationally reading things. But there is a world where I would like to keep reading this and finding out what happens.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
But this is the the famous shopping chapter.
Shopping episode. Shopping. Yeah, let's go.
We love them all episode.
We do.
Oh my God, it was so good.
We
dude.
do. I loved the comedy for me here really shined.
Yes.
I like that. I loved how her, the outfit that she wanted to pick was like the ugliest thing ever. And he's the one that's to tell her like, no, like girl, like this is what we're here for. Just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's good. And I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
I needed to
I
hear
just kind of think about you a little bit while I read this. But yeah, I mean, like her having her weakness, that whole speech, right? Like, I have things that I'm really good at.
Yeah.
And I have things I'm bad at. And you have things that you're good at and bad at. And then she goes off to do the thing that she said she was like kind of good at. And he's like, no, you're also bad at this thing too. Like, I need to be here for you. But I also like how he did, like once he was given that advice to just express himself, he did. And he tried it. And I felt the uncomfortability because of course it's like scary to let someone in that much and tell them like, look, I just have a weird thing about salespeople. I feel like I have to talk to them or lie to them. Or what if they are judging me for my taste? Like super relatable stuff. He went out on a limb and she like, I love the way she met him, which was like, I'm just glad that you're like talking to me. Like, I'm just glad that you're opening up and sharing these things.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought that was a very, very sweet moment. And of course, like their whole like dynamic of trying on outfits and stuff was
love that. I was sucker for that.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love
they
that.
were so like adorably awkward in the store. It was so good. So pleasant every second.
Yeah.
And I was really happy like the final outfit was cute. Because I was just like the other ones
so cute.
I was just like, this is ugly and I'm waiting for y'all to figure this out.
Fix it now. I need it fixed.
They eventually did. And I was like, okay, great. Thank you.
I have it right here. I'm looking for it. I want to see. Let's see, because I see the print, the bear print one.
Yeah.
This outfit, is it like the collared dress?
No,
Not this one.
No. That's where she came in. It's the one at the end with like the little tie and the skirt combo.
Yeah.
Right.
Very summery. That was the theme, and they nailed it.
This is actually a super fire fit. I like the one she landed on a lot.
Yeah. Me too.
They're like, you worked so hard on this outfit together. I love like him behind her, like showing the skirts.
So then he lets her get the lounge pants at the end, which is really
that was
sweet.
funny.
Yeah.
Chica, you're saying you don't like this polka dot black shirt with the long skirt? You don't. This is the fit you don't like?
I thought it looked ugly to me. Sorry, y'all.
All right. I mean,
It doesn't match.
No, you probably,
It doesn't match.
clearly you would know better than I would know, but
Can we talk about
I
too
think it
that
looks kind of nice.
she only has 3 pairs of underwear? I just wanted to address
my
that
God.
because that was wild.
Yeah, that was wild. She's wild for that.
It's like,
She
I know
said
you
one
clean.
for today, one for tomorrow, and one for special occasions.
For special
It's like, oh my
occasion. Like,
God.
I know you clean, but come on.
You're too busy cleaning everybody else's stuff. You need to clean your own self.
You could
Right.
get like a Hanes pack from Walmart, like 5 in the like.
Exactly.
There's no
Right.
reason for you to only have 3. Even he was taken off. He was like, "What do you mean? What does that even? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Girl, what don't you don't just tell that to people. Like that is foul.
It's
Right.
foul. It is foul.
And it's just so much work. You have to just like wash so much. Like anyway, I was
And it
I was
ruined
taken
the
aback.
elasticity.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
it's a
Then they're just
nightmare.
then they're just literally like torn and
Yeah, it's gonna be full of holes.
holes.
Yeah,
yeah.
it'll be full of holes. But yeah, that's what I
Oh my
wonder. I wonder if she's doing the classic, right? A lot of high school, mostly I think high school boys do it, but the classic like flip it inside out.
Flip it.
Then you kind of technically
No.
That's
have.
foul.
No.
That's
No,
foul.
no, it's.
He
I'm
needs
not
to.
saying I
They
ever did
said
that.
no.
It is foul.
No.
And girl,
Because
yeah,
they clean. I just know. I just know.
Oh my God.
she's just too much.
I just want to make be clear. I've never done that, guys. I've
Right.
never
How
done
do you
that.
know about that?
Right.
Because everybody else did it.
Whoa,
Everybody else is walking around with
sure.
their
Everybody
stinky
else.
asses,
Everyone else.
You
got
offered
it.
that up very quickly.
No.
You gave that info up.
I was like the gasoline magician in high school, getting whiffs of everybody. Like, damn, you guys need to buy more underwear. Yeah, stop turning it inside
I
out.
can read your mind.
Yeah, I know who you
Yes.
are.
The axe is not working.
The axe is not- yeah, it's clearly you trying to cover up the fact you've been wearing this underwear for 3 days.
I know who you are. I know who you are.
I know who you are.
But yeah, this was such a cute moment. I loved them going shopping. I love this little other test, to get their communication up, get morale back to where it needs to be. And just seeing them both happy. And even at the end, like his smile.
Yeah,
And he's
dude.
just looking at her like, who cares? Okay, yeah, who cares if I can't tell her? It'll probably be far more difficult than you think. And it's just like a flashback to them. And he's like tearing up, like, oh my gosh.
Oh.
Yeah,
This man really does love her.
Mhm.
because this is him realizing how hard it is.
It's going to be. If
Yeah.
he continues to be this close to her and, communicate with her and have fun with her, like it's going to be so difficult.
Because they're also becoming closer. Their bond is like strengthening, and he's having a rough time.
Yeah.
But it was very beautiful. I mean, I really
love
did
the
love
art,
this chapter so
too.
much. The art is fantastic.
Mhm.
It's so pretty.
It's so good. And I don't want to undersell this chapter, okay? This chapter is, I think it's like peak of this volume 1. It's like, I'm going to say my favorite. I'll say it.
Top.
Just in case, anybody feels like, we didn't spend as much time on this chapter as other chapters. I'm just telling you, it's because we want you to experience it for yourself because it's beautiful.
Yes.
Yes,
Beautiful.
for sure.
The 4th chapter, I think, is the one with, when we meet the antagonist, the bug handlers for the first time.
Atari.
Yes.
Ataru. Sorry.
Ataru.
Yeah.
I love the painted nails. This man, ooh.
Yeah, I know he's kind of a bad guy,
He's
but he's
bad,
also
but
kind
he's
of a,
bad.
Yeah, he's also
Like
kind
he's a
of
baddie.
baddie,
Yeah.
He's a baddie.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, chill.
Yeah. I am definitely into that, I would say.
I'm into that.
He's a bad guy. He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
But, handsome guy. Charming guy.
Yes.
But yeah, so he's talking in this cafe to this girl and encouraging her to like pin her hair back, and he's telling her to not be so hard on herself. She's also talking about how like since he showed up, her luck's gotten so much better, right? Like she entered a photo contest and won, and her life's like completely like had a 180.
Yeah, he like does aura readings.
Aura readings.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then he kind of like watches her walk away, and you think this is where he's gonna have his like villain monologue.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he actually ends up being a sweet guy and saying like, I'm not going to use her to manipulate her my ability to manipulate her. She's actually a very sweet girl. Like the only people I have interest in controlling or manipulating are like actual bad people, and there are plenty of them. And I don't know how you guys felt. I think we touched on it in the beginning, but I genuinely was like, I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
Like she seems nice.
I think at first I was just like, okay, is he morally gray the way that Gasoline Magician is morally gray? But then you kind of find out like, no, he's kind of bad too, but he has principles.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
it's
just
giving like Yagami a little bit.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say that, Gianna, when we got to, what would you compare this to? I was going to say Death Note. A little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I could totally see it with him. It's like you're like rooting for him because he is beginning to like, take out really bad people, like murderers and just people that are like really, really bad people. But then obviously he takes a turn down the line a little bit, and he gets a powered.
Yeah, or you realize that it's
trip.
like when it's up to like him, like, and he's the one who has the choice. Like that's when it starts to get complicated because he might view someone as being like. A contender, a candidate for like being a bad person. Like, what are his standards? Like, we just put our standards onto him, and like, oh, like, that must be fine. I mean, that doesn't sound too bad, but we don't really know like what he's really basing all this on.
Yeah, I think going back to Death Note, I think like Ryuk says something to Light along the lines of, "Well, when you get rid of all the bad guys, there's just going to be one bad guy left, and it'll be you." So I guess it's kind of in the same vein.
I gave me chills again.
I need to rewatch that. I need to rewatch
it's so good.
I mean, it is so good. I don't know if you guys ever saw the not sequel series, but the follow-up series, not related to Death Note, but by the same creator, Platinum End. Did you guys see that?
I have not.
It's not that good.
It's not that good.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, okay.
No, it started off really strong.
Really strong.
And then it just kind of took a... anyways, it's
weird turn.
Yeah, weird turn. But yeah, I want to rewatch it. I like Elle. Like I don't know why I have like really weird tastes. Elle was like in middle school. Like that was my husbando. Like
oh my god, wait, I'm right there with you.
Right? Yeah, I don't know why. I just love like.
He's so quirky.
He's like hunched over. He has like the scene haircut. I'm like, oh my
god.
Yeah.
Night Owl vibes.
Love it.
Yeah. I was like,
I read it, but he wasn't really my husbando. But
I know. You were more of a Ryuk. You were more of a Ryuk gal.
Me too.
Yeah, I know you were, Megan. I know you were.
Anyways.
No, I think that there was a point in my high school career too when I was reading Death Note that I think I tried to like. I don't like feet. Okay, I don't like bare feet. It's something. It's a weird thing about me. So I could never go that far, but I did try to like adopt some of Elle's habits. I would sit on chairs. I would perch myself on chairs. Just real dweeb, real goober stuff.
Yeah, with the sugar cubes
and I would
the
sit,
cup.
Hold everything with only your index finger and thumb.
Yeah, right. I thought that made me interesting.
Yeah,
I thought that made me cool.
Yeah.
I tried to do the hair thing, but like it just I looked like Snooki from Jersey Shore. Like I was just like,
Snooki.
Maybe this isn't for me.
Maybe
this doesn't fit me. So
looking in the mirror, like just hearing the Jersey Shore like theme song, and you're like, oh shit.
Snooki had a hold on the culture.
Yeah, Snooki was a queen in her own right.
She was a queen of the shore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Snooki, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
But this is again where we're meeting them and we're finding out, what his moral compass is. He's talking about having planted another bug somewhere else. And we, see some training happening. But I think the real meat of this chapter comes with, there's a funny moment where the grandma like cracks a watermelon over the psychologist's head.
Well, yeah, because he's like, oh, I smelled you like time of the month already. And I was like, you need to chill. Yeah. You come in way too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you deserve to be hit.
Yeah. He deserved it.
Like, talk about a fear. Like, a fear in and like went high school, middle school. Oh my gosh, I've got to make sure I'm changing, doing all this stuff. I don't want anybody to smell me. And here we get like the gasoline magician saying that it like activated this memory in my head where I was just like, oh no, I gotta make sure like
literally a high school girl, like worst fear, and he just said it. He just went, you know what? This is a thing I need to say to you.
He said the one thing out loud that, nobody wants to hear.
No one should say. No one should do. You're just psychotic.
The only way I can relate to that is like by, sometimes like I would maybe get a whiff of myself like halfway through the day and realize that I forgot to put on deodorant. Right. And then in my head, I would think like, damn, I've smelled like this all day. And no one said anything to me.
That's the fear too. You know, I want someone to come and be like, hey, by the way.
Like, here's some deodorant.
It's uncomfortable, but thank you.
Yeah. It's different, but that's how I relate to it. Like, damn, someone could have told me.
Right. That's how you know who the real ones are.
Yeah, exactly. For real. Yeah. And you go like, thank you. I'm not mad at you at all. In no means, but.
Right.
But the real meat of this is like the interaction that she has later on. So we meet. It ends up being that the girl we met in the beginning of the chapter obviously goes to her school.
Yeah.
She's learning about the photo contest and all that stuff. And she runs into her in the nurse's office. And there's like rumors kind of going around between her and her classmates that, between Fumi and her classmates, that this teacher is like a bully to her students.
Yeah.
She used to be an ex-model, so she thinks, she's hot stuff and better than, I guess, the kids she teaches.
That's insane.
Which is, I don't doubt that there's someone out there who operates like that.
But you shouldn't be working at a school.
But you shouldn't be working. You should be a teacher. Yeah.
Right.
But and so we still don't even know to what degree. I mean, I'm sure this was like a very real thing that was happening because she was like purposely not letting her enter contests. This other girl that we met at the beginning, and just like being generally like, I guess, rude or dismissive of her. But when we do meet the teacher, she's possessed by, this bug handler, one of his bugs. So she's coming off, I think, far more aggressive and far meaner than she probably actually is. Or maybe the bugs are bringing out these like inner thoughts that she doesn't say out loud. Yeah. But she does think like they are just like being said out loud. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Like, is that something that the bug is making her say, or something that she just always thinks and is being said out loud?
Maybe I think that the teacher probably has those types of thoughts, because working with students in high school, like they're about to enter their prime, and you being the adult, technically, people might see you as being past your prime. And so her trying to hold that student back, it's just like, I don't want you to get above me. Like maybe she had that sort of thought process, and then the bugs like made it 80 times worse and stuff, to the point that she was just like, I'm hitting you with this camera, which
that was
that was a lot. I was like, jail.
Jail immediately.
Yeah. If you weren't using a camera, we could have got a photograph of that.
Yeah.
We could have snapped that for evidence. Yeah, I think exactly what you said. It is like she had these thoughts in her brain, and maybe she would act on him in a different way, more passive aggressively than like actually outright saying it to the student. Because if she was outright saying to the student, like it would get around and teachers would hear about it. She doesn't want to maybe be seen as like, an asshole. But she does things passive aggressively, so it could just come off as her like looking out for the student, or like, you don't want to enter that competition because you're above it. You should just wait on it. Like things like that. I think she was doing more than saying like, you suck. Right.
But I agree with Chica about the just that possibility that because again, when we do meet her, she is drawn like a very beautiful woman. So I mean, I'm sure her being a model was true. And so as someone who was probably like in that world, surrounded by, beautiful people telling her that she was beautiful all the time, like I'm sure there's a part of her that might have those feelings about being past her prime, teaching the next generation. Like her time is past and now it's about the next generation. It wasn't until Chica really said that I was like, oh, I totally think that's where this is coming from.
Yeah.
With her. But it was a pretty like intense interaction between them.
So intense.
Very.
So intense. This was when I think it took a turn for me, and I saw like how I think dark this series is going to get.
Bro,
right?
Fumi was on some freaking gangster shit, dude. Like
she was getting wild.
Fumi, like I was like I like got excited. And I was like, you fucking tell her, Fumi.
You tell her.
Because she was like, she's like, I'm a teacher. Tell me your class name. And Fumi just like, there's a close up of her face, deadpan. She's like, class 2C. I mean, she tells her whole name. I was like, damn, dude. Like not like stoic, not afraid, not nervous, not scared of the repercussions. Just like, here it is. Like, okay, do something. Like you're the one being an asshole.
Yeah. What did you guys think? Like when you first saw this? Because me and Josh were like, whoa, this is wild.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I mean, it just kept going places I didn't expect it to go. Her commanding her, like, okay, it's like, okay, kneel down before you. Okay. Keep your eyes open. Okay. Oh, they're still open. Okay. Oh, they're really still open. Okay. Like it just kept getting more and more brutal, and she was relentless. And I'm like, oh, I hope Q comes out of the blue, because this is not looking good.
No, I mean, she was ready to murder this lady.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think, honestly, she low-key brought it on herself when she hit her with the camera. I was just like, karma is instant. But then I was just like, oh, this is intense. Like, let her blink, like, because the water was coming out of her eyes. I was like, oh God, okay.
Yeah, I was kind of cool with the not blinking thing. I was like, that seems like a pretty fair punishment. I mean, not forever, but like...
No, but she said forever.
Right,
you're never going to close your eyes. Yeah, ever again, and you're going to go blind because you can't close your eyes.
But I did think, I don't know how much time is passing, but I did feel like the teacher was being a little dramatic. Because she was like, I'm going to die. And it's like, okay, it's been like a minute. And you haven't blinked for like a minute. Like
you are, it's uncomfortable, but is it death? Like, let's wait like 2 hours of this.
Exactly.
Okay.
2 hours? Then I'm taking you to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then I'm worried.
Then I'm worried for my own safety. But a minute?
Yeah.
I wanted staring contest longer.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to do an experiment where I just like privately just like see how long I can hold my eyes open for. Which
But the emotions are so high. Like, if you're just like still, your heart beats fine, and you then decide to like open your eyes, like it wouldn't be as, I think, intense if you're like running around and like hitting people with freaking cameras and yelling and screaming, and the intensity is like so high. I feel like it would feel worse.
Yeah, and she's also seeing all of this stuff too.
Oh,
like she's seeing Fumi as the queen and all of these like this energy and these
she doesn't know why
around her.
She's like not able to blink. She doesn't know why she's being like, she's on the floor not able to get up. It's like all of these things, like what's happening right now.
Yeah, the way it escalated. I mean, especially from the first scenario with the gasoline magician, like that was child's play compared
for real
to like what this is. Like, this was pretty intense, to say the least. Again, but then of course Q does come in, but she's. I mean, he comes in right in the nick of time.
Yeah,
because she's about to like force this teacher to gouge her eyes out. And Fumi's also talking about feeling this door open inside of her.
Yeah,
and that's going to play a part in the final chapter, which is the final chapter of this first volume, and. She's in this like place, in this like in between sort of place, and we see, I forget the guy's name, the bug handler. What was his name again?
Ataru.
Ataru. Yeah, he's like in this in between space, like kind of like with her.
Yeah, talking.
Yeah, talking to her, and she's saying that she feels like it's like safe and it's comfortable here, and she wants to stay here forever. And again, it shows that door, but. Yeah, that panel too, by the way, because I'm just scrolling through it with all that energy. Like, this is...
just like completely shrouded in darkness and the butterflies, which is already very scary.
Yeah.
I have like a phobia of butterflies. So anytime they came up,
Mehgan
I was
really
like,
does.
oh, nasty. But yeah, those are amazing. I love the how different she looks when she is like enveloped in the queen versus obviously her being regular Fumi. And even her, I mean, hitting Kyo, Kyo.
Kyo.
Yeah,
really on some fruit basket. Yeah.
Her hitting Q. That was so intense, and I feel so
queen,
bad
though.
for him.
That
I
wasn't
know.
Fumi wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
No, but still, like you're trying to help someone and you're trying to bring someone back, and they just like slap the shit out of you. Like, oh dang, that hurt.
Like, I didn't expect to be pimp slapped today, but I guess that's what's going on.
Yeah,
Right.
I
That
said,
was
this is
not
what
on my bingo card for this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And she went full extension on it too.
No, she really did.
Whole arm.
Who do you think you're speaking to?
Yeah.
And that was so intense, and I am interested in what, like, the connection, like how different the queen is from Fumi. Like, I know they're two different entities, but the queen has like feelings, because even Q like says, I'll remember you, like, if you scroll down a little bit, I forgot the exact quote, but as he's like trying to calm down the queen, he's like, go to sleep, I'll remember you. And then the queen calms down, and then Fumi's back. So that is interesting.
And she seems like she's, again, I'm sure she wants to be in control. She wants to be in power. But at the same time, she also seems like scared about having to be like locked away again.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, no, don't come back now. Yeah, that could very much be her just not wanting to let go of that power. But it also could be that maybe she, you know, when Fumi's in control, she's locked away somewhere and not able to really do anything. I don't. What was your read on, I guess, that moment?
I wish that Fumi was able to kind of be one with the queen and to have some sort of level of control over the queen, so that it's like it doesn't escalate to the point of you can never close your eyes ever again, gouge your eyeballs out.
Right.
But like to stand up for herself, because I don't see dominance in that way. Doesn't have to be a bad thing. And I know that they talked about, I mean, we mainly learned about like the Black Queen in this volume, but there was mention of the True Queen, which we don't get as much information, but I'm guessing that's just like the juxtaposition. Like there's the Black Queen, there's the True Queen. And it's like, okay, maybe that's in the next volume of like us learning more about the True Queen and how can we get the queen inside of Fumi to be that way, because maybe if Fumi didn't have to close off the queen, then, and they were one being, then, you know, the queen herself wouldn't be like, I don't want to go away. I don't want to be like by myself. It's like, okay, you don't have to be. And it looks like Q is kind of the connector for both. Like, it doesn't even matter if she's the Black Queen or the True Queen. He's gonna be there. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I had similar thoughts. And also I felt like it was just the tiniest intriguing introduction to this inner world and like where the queen's lying dormant and her being locked away, just kind of leaving us breadcrumbs, knowing that there's probably going to be a lot more explained about this coming. So I had more questions than like takeaways, I feel like, from it, but I'm definitely intrigued.
Yeah. And I think it was also like a really cool point too, like, you know, as the chapter kind of like starts to come to a close, that they do mention that the Black Queen's door, without that door opening, the True Queen, like the True Queen needs to come through that door too, or something of along those lines. Yeah. Like you have to open that door for the True Queen to emerge. So I do think that that was also really interesting. I think it speaks to a lot more than just that. And like you were saying, I am intrigued to see where this goes, like what happens after this. I do feel like this is the tip of the iceberg, you know? And, but what about you, Mehgan?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the exact same way. I love the like connection with like obviously this magical, mystical element of her having this like dormant queen power, whether it's good or bad within inside her, but it like being shown throughout the story that it, like Chica said, like it is a lot. It has a lot to do with like her own personal journey and her mental like fortitude and how she's able to like grow and develop this queen and like again like have a relationship, because I think that the queen right now, like the Black Queen, is so she might like be able to turn into the true queen. I think they're the same entity, but for whatever reason, because of her standing within herself right now, that's why she's like developing into this other queen when she could be the true queen. If that makes sense. Like I don't know. I think that
I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think it has to be that, right? That the Black Queen, the true queen, they're the same. It just is like
misunderstood, or she's being trapped away by the bug handler. The bug handler told this queen, I don't know, there's some connection where she is misunderstood, and I think that she doesn't necessarily want to be evil. She just comes out when people are doing evil things to her. Right? Like every time she's in danger, it's not like she's doing it to like nice people that she interacts with. She's doing it to people that need to be put in place. Not exactly to that extent of like gouge your eyes out, but you need to stand down, you know?
It's almost like her, this like inner power, like how it chooses to manifest, right? Like it comes from the true queen, the Black Queen, whatever. They come from the same place within her, and it just is about her like overcoming these things within herself to allow for it to be allowed to manifest into like the true queen. I mean, these are just like ideas,
hypotheticals,
theories
based off of volume 1. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much where we wrap up.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
And then her combing. Him combing her hair.
I loved that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And that line, of course, and I think Chica was touching on this too, him saying like, you know, even if you have to go somewhere deeper, Q saying this, even if you have to go somewhere deeper and darker, like, let's go forward. Like, I mean, it was very, very, very beautiful and the perfect sort of line to leave the chapter on and the volume on. Because I really do think that this volume was so well done. And I don't know if it's because the mangaka had a previous 3-volume series to like kind of flesh all of this other stuff out, but this just feels so, I mean, it does to a degree feel like it's a sequel series, but it also feels so self-contained, so well like structured throughout.
And
like,
it's hooked you. It's hooked you since volume 1. I mean, that's like so important with reading anything. And even like anime series, you could like not be super sold on the first episode. Second episode, you really get in the third episode. You know, it depends. You could be sold on the first episode or 3 down the line. And sometimes that happens with manga too. You're not really sold until the 3rd volume of the manga. But I think in this case, like, the first volume sets up everything you need to know. You're already committed to these characters. You already want to know what happens. You already are theorizing about what's to come with the queen and everything. And I think that that's like so important to like have the reader guess or want to know what happens next. And that's engaging.
Yeah. I think it's a solid first volume.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
And I just want to know, especially from you guys, like what were your, thoughts on the volume, the series as a whole? I mean, comparing it to other things, like you mentioned Death Note. Is there anything else you would compare it to, or just any other like feelings, general thoughts or closing thoughts, or anything that you didn't feel like you got to say to sell someone on this series? I'm just curious to know your thoughts about it. More of your thoughts about it.
Chica, did you get any Alice 19th vibes? Because I kind of did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alice 19th.
That's another shoujo manga that we talked about with Shoujo and Tell a while back. It's Alice becomes what's called a lotus warrior, and she's like a magical girl. She uses magic words to enter people's inner hearts to help them conquer their own inner negativity and like demons and stuff. So yeah, there's like a lot going on in that, but it kind of had similar vibes to this.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it sounds very similar.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the cover.
It's cool, and it's like I think Alice is trying to save her older sister from being taken over like by this darkness. And they have the other side. They have their own words as well, like their words of malice. I think to like take over people. And there's like a little bit of body horror in it, but I think that's a really great comparison, Gianna. I forgot.
It's the first thing I thought of. I was like, oh, we're going into people's minds again. It's Alice 19th.
But Alice 19th's by Yu Watase. So the same person that made Fushigi Yugi. And Sierra's. I think I put Sierra's down, but Sierra's is not it's not the same. It's still kind of like there's something inside of you that people want, and so people are coming after you for it. But it's a little bit more on the trashy side. There's a lot of things. Just a lot of things happen. But yeah, I think I'll just also go with Gianna's pick of Alice 19th. Yes. And then we mentioned Death Note earlier, but it's like that little aspect of basically Light being like, I'm gonna find justice and stuff, and then Ataru saying like, oh, this is a good person, I'm not gonna bother her, I'm gonna bother the people I want to. But
the one who judges.
The one who judges, but then like ultimately like you have the right mindset, right? You want to go after the people that are bad, but in turn you're making them worse to other people that are good. So he kind of he's like, I don't want to do that to that girl, but I'm going to do it to her teacher, and then her teacher is then going to be mean to her. It's like, okay, you skipped a couple steps,
right?
And it's just like, like what
got lost in translation.
What gives anybody, I guess, the right to decide like who's good and who's bad? I guess when it can mean like life and death, like that's crazy.
Exactly.
But what about like I'm sure there are a lot of things. I mean, I'm speaking personally for sure. I had a lot of favorite moments from this. But did you have favorite moments or even least favorite moments? Was there anything that you were like, I didn't really love that, or I wish they could have done this instead of that? Any of those moments come to mind?
I mean, I like in general that this manga seems to be talking about people's mental health. I think it's great to just find other series that talk about it openly. So I like that. I also like that they encourage Fumi in this background, like in this volume, to rely on people and stuff, because she wants to be self-reliant because she feels like she's a burden, but it's like, you're not a burden. You can rely on people. We're here to help you. So I really like that about the series, or at least from this volume, from what we got to see. I would say what I sort of disliked is, and this may seem dumb, but I kind of wish that the QQ Sweeper and Queen's Quality was just all one series.
That would be my biggest critique as well. Like, I wish I didn't find out after the fact that there were technically 3 volumes before this that I didn't know about.
Right.
But I mean, it's still wonderful on its own.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's good on its own. So if people want to start off the way that we did, you can. And it's still a solid piece. It's great. There's a lot that you can get from it. But yeah, I think if it was all just one thing, I would have preferred it. And I think the other thing I didn't like as much is because the stakes are established, right? Like in the story, I feel like we could have had more of an adult presence, or like, because you'll see the uncle just randomly shows up when, like, with the gouging eye thing. And it's just like, I'm subduing stuff and we're getting the other student out of here. It's like, okay, if this is as serious as y'all are saying it is, like, yes, like Q is this great sweeper, but shouldn't there be more people that are around Fumi and like guarding Fumi from these handlers and stuff instead of just this one person? Because Q, even though he said he's like, I'm going to always be around her, she's mine, he wasn't around her at that moment when when that happened. Or even when we first meet Gasoline Magician, he wasn't there at that moment when he showed up and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think if there was like more of an adult presence or even more sweepers that were sort of involved in trying to protect Fumi from turning into the Black Queen, like I would have liked that.
Yeah.
I think I mean, it would be very interesting, and I love that type of like, I don't want to say, I guess like story beat of, it's kind of like in similarly to Bleach, you know, you have your two main characters and they're connected to this world, and then we get to see all of the rest of the Soul Reapers. Like that's what I would hope and love to see in this series, of like a whole community of sweepers and this whole other world that we get to see. It feels kind of small when we're just talking about two characters or just a family that are sweepers.
Yeah, I don't even think we saw the uncle do any real sweeping,
No.
but he seems like he's kind of connected to this world too.
Yeah.
Coming in and
the grandma
helping.
too. And everyone.
Too, yeah. But go ahead.
But yeah, that would be so much fun to see.
I agree, by the way, 100%.
And also, yeah, exactly to what you said, Chica. I think that if she is capable to like kill half of the population just because she says so and wills it, I think it's pretty important to keep an eye on her.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, I guess.
It's very intense. They're like, the plague will spread and she'll be responsible for countless deaths. I'm like, okay, but she can just go to high school.
Yeah.
Maybe homeschooling would be a better, better way to do this. It's not like a Kyo, and there's not like they can just like have a hug and then they get turned. It's like that's
even that is like pretty wild. Like, why would you put yourself in that situation? There's
a lot of them.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
a lot of kids going to public schools.
Yeah.
Even though they're like filthy rich, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I think that in the first volume, like it was really cool to see the setup. A lot of what you guys said about the follow-up series, I want to recommend this series, but also it's kind of like a lot to be like, hey, you should read this, but also read these first 3 volumes and then get into this. You know, like it's kind of, I haven't read them myself, so I couldn't say like it's going to be amazing. Like you're going to love it, because I love this version. So I don't know like how to feel about recommending it. But I'm sure with the same characters, obviously it follows the same characters and sweepers and all that stuff. I don't think too much changes. But yeah.
Yeah. Gianna, is there anything else that you wanna add? Any least favorite parts?
Wow, I think we covered pretty much everything. I love how character focused this is.
Same.
It's just nice to see that the same amount of attention is being put into the characters and their development along with the story. And the story kind of, I mean, I guess stories in general are dependent on character development, but this feels so like intricately woven into it, given as it's so focused on like mental health and like conquering your emotions and stuff like that. So I really like the way this story is doing that. I think it's the only thing left for me to say.
And I just want to say again, I 100% agree with that as well, because again, I don't know if it's a byproduct of it being a technically sequel series, but I love that it focused so much more on the relationship between them. And that I personally in this story like that a lot of the other stuff felt very background for especially the beginning.
Yeah.
For sure. I just really gave me time to really understand and become invested in a different way in both of them. And then like the magical, mystical sweeper, bug stuff was like icing on the cake at that point, Yeah. And I am curious. I feel similarly to Mehgan too. Like I'm hesitant. I do think you can read it and you don't have to read QQ Sweeper. Maybe people will disagree, but I went into it with that. I think we all obviously went into it like that. So, and we enjoyed it. So if it sounded at all interesting to you, I think you can enjoy it and will enjoy it too. If it sounds like something you'd be interested in, it's a beautifully drawn, I think extremely well executed first volume that is perfect, like kind of on its own, like separate from this other thing.
We've read. I mean, you guys too have read a lot of. Not the best first volumes of manga that are kind of all over the place and have a lot more questions than like information, which it has its place, but I appreciate the information given here because we just off to the races, wasting no time going into the second volume.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's it though. I think that's going to do it on our discussion of I was going to say Q Sweeper. Queen's Quality. Q Sweeper is what the other series is called, okay? But I just, again, want to thank Chica Giana so much for coming on here, talking about this with us. Great rec, by the way. Amazing rec. You guys also have an amazing show, and I would like, because there's only so much I think me and Mehgan can do to sell it, because we both talked about in the beginning how much we do love your format and just your energy and everything that you guys do. But we want to give you a chance to, like, one more time at the end here to sell your show to everybody else and to
plug anything you might have.
Anything else that you might want to plug or talk about.
First off, thank you guys for having us. We're so happy that we were finally able to do this collab, and we're definitely returning the favor. It's just going to be like, in advance planning, like,
which I think you guys are pros for that.
Yeah. For sure.
We want to have you guys on our show too. But yeah, so Shoujo Sundae, it is a podcast that aims to review and reflect on shoujo properties that deserve more attention than what they currently receive. And we try to go through like anime and sometimes manga, but mostly anime, just to shed light on it, talk about things more, kind of go more in depth. And so that's where our ice cream puns come in. So we'll give you a soft serve summary. We'll tell you what floats our boat, which is what we like.
I love that.
We'll tell you what we're banana split about, because we're not really certain if we like it or dislike it. And if we dislike it, I scream, you scream. That's what we have that for. And then also hot takes or hot fudge. But yeah, so we just have all of our puns, and we go through we'll go through a TV show, maybe 3 episodes per podcast episode. We also do films as well. But yeah, it's a fun time. So if you guys, even if you haven't watched the anime that we're talking about, because I know there are podcast listeners like you that exist, because I exist, because there are movies that I don't really plan on going out to watch, but I still want to hear what people have to say about it. You can definitely check out our podcast. If you have seen some of the stuff we've talked about, I would say you could also check out our podcast. We've gone over Maid-sama, Kageki Shoujo, Blue Spring Ride. We don't like it, but Blue Spring Ride.
Wow, I haven't heard that name, in years. I saw you guys reviewing it. I was like, oh wow, Blue Spring Ride. Took me back.
Yeah. Oran High School Host Club. And what else? The Cat's Return. Whisper of the Heart.
Voice.
A Silent Voice. That was our first shonen exception.
Yes, our shoujo adjacent. Yeah.
Our shoujo adjacent.
It breaks my heart.
Yeah. And we try to do our best to have a fun time. So please check us out if you can. We're on all of the social medias, and we're wherever you can find podcasts. We're not really... We have a YouTube channel, but I think that's going to be more activated when we have our anniversary, which is technically National Ice Cream Day. So if you guys remember National Ice Cream Day,
we did.
Remember Shoujo Sundae.
Like, what a coincidence. It's crazy.
Yeah, it worked out very well that way.
That is awesome. Yeah, I really do appreciate you guys coming on. I would love, I know that we've gone kind of long today, but we would also of course, just love to go on your show, but have you back whenever. Because there's so many things I am genuinely curious about asking, your thoughts and opinions on just being, because I know that there's this kind of silly at times, shoujo versus shonen sort of goofy
the battle
conversation. It's like you were saying, Chica, about people existing that like both. I'm one of those people too. I love Fruits Basket. I love One Piece or Naruto or what, you know what I mean?
Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
There's things that you could, you don't have to have this war, you can like both.
Yeah, it just seems so silly that people are I don't know, that I know it's a separate episode, a separate conversation, but just like getting your thoughts on that part of the conversation, because I'm sure you guys have to deal with, unfortunately, some just like dumb people.
But yeah, I again, like you guys coming on and you reviewing, because you said, showcasing like series that aren't necessarily properly showcased as they should be, like Ouran. I mean, everyone loves Ouran, but I don't see a lot of like podcasts or YouTube videos showcasing it like it truly should be, and I just like appreciate that so much. Same thing with Maid-sama. People like to trash on Maid-sama. I don't know why. There are some things that I'm like, okay, it's a little dated, but it's near and dear to my heart, and I think that you guys capture that so well, and you respect it, and you respect the show and the fans, and yeah, it's a great time. If you guys are fans of any of the series that they mentioned reviewing, like go check them out. They're so fun, and yeah, puns. I mean, that's all I need to say.
Puns, professional, articulate. So we're huge fans of Shoujo Sundae. So like Mehgan was saying, go check them out. And one more time, just a round of applause for both Chica and Giana for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
No problem. Anytime. And I mean it, anytime.
Anytime you see a new volume of manga, just be like, we want to read this. Can we come on?
Anytime we're live, send a DM. We want to come on right now. Okay.
And it doesn't always have to be shoujo too, if you want.
Yeah, of course. And I think, yes, absolutely. The only thing left to do now is to get out of here on our outro that is always the same and never changes, which we can all collectively kind of try to workshop together today, which is just generally something about with the ice cream puns, right? It's something similar, like a punny or an outro or a saying that has to do with something from the series that we read and talked about today.
Yeah. Yas clean.
That's pretty good, actually. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about something about bugs being handled, but I don't have it quite there yet.
Okay. Like handle your bugs. Well, I mean, it's just it's like another way of saying like handle your shit.
Handle your shit.
Yeah.
Handle your bugs.
Think twice before getting on your knees.
Or that's really good. What if it's something about the chains though? What if we incorporate?
It's just like the
chain.
And never break the chain if we want to go Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac, okay. But think twice before getting on your knees.
I like that.
You laugh, yeah.
I like that a lot.
Let's just do it.
Yeah. I was thinking, I like it.
You sure?
Knocked it out of the park, yes.
You want to pitch one?
No, that's perfect.
All right, so we're going to say, think twice before getting on your knees.
Okay, all at once.
All at once, in unison. It might be a little off because of Zoom, but whatever. Thank you for watching. Thank you again, Shoujo Sundae, for being here. Thank everybody for listening. And until next time, think twice before getting on your knees. We got You're close enough.
Dang it. I got a word wrong.
I did too. I think we got it wrong.
We always get it.
But we get it wrong often.